One of the biggest downsides to drifting a Subaru is probably the rear end. Basically the differential and axles. With my car, it's just the front axles are removed and the outer axle stubs are actually in place just to make sure that the wheel bearings work the correct way. With that welded center differential, it sends 100% of the power to the rear end. Needless to say, the rear end that's in a WRX or even just like a 2.5 RS is not made to handle all of that power, especially with stuff like clutch kicking. And I found that out pretty quickly. During one event, I went through 4 axles, and at one point I put a brand new axle on, went and did a lap, and then broke that axle the very next lap. I have never broke an axle at low speeds. It's always just like with a clutch kick before going around the corner. All that being said, I'm pretty good at changing out rear axles since I do it so often. Okay, so obviously the first thing that you're going to want to do is jack the car up and get it on some jack stands. So I always just put the jack under the rear diff, put the jack stands on the pinch welds. Alright, so for the next part, we're going to put it on the jack stands. Make sure it's nice and secure before we start working on it. Drop it down. Alright, let's get this wheel off. Alright, next is the 32mm axle nut. Alright, now we move to the underneath of the car. Alright, so all we have to do next is get these 2 studs out. Normally when I take these, try to take these nuts off, the studs actually come out with it, which actually helps us in this scenario. So you'll need a 17mm, a swivel, and an extension. Sometimes it can be a little difficult. And then before you take that second one out, you want to support the diff so it doesn't just hit the ground. Alright, and you can just let her hang. Be careful here, because it'll hang and sometimes it'll let loose on you. It'll slam and hit the ground. So you want to grab your crowbar next and pop the axle out of the diff. Alright, so carefully, you're going to want to take your crowbar, set it on this here, just pop that right out. I'm going to support this once again carefully because it will smash your fingers. And actually the easiest thing to do is to pop the other axle out as well. This is where you really need to be careful. Alright, you'll see it dropped all the way down. And then just leave that one kind of hovering over there so I can get this axle out. As you can see, it's missing half of it. Alright, so we're back out here, and all we have to do is take this. We're going to have to tap that with a little hammer. Just take this and tap it right out. And take the other side of our CV axle out. Okay, so now take your new axle, take your splined end, push it through. Helps to kind of pull it down a little bit first and guide it through there, right through your wheel hub. There you go. You just put that right back in the differential. All right, for the fun part, you're gonna want to lift this back up while simultaneously pushing in the axles on each side so it'll actually clear when you get it up there. Now, as long as you're in the hole, you're good. You can get it up in place. Take one of your studs and just go ahead and hand thread it in there, just to kind of get the strain off of you a little bit. This thing is not light. Okay. And now I just take and focus on putting the splines into the diff on both sides. Helps to kind of rotate them a little bit just to get it aligned. Okay. All right, both of them are pretty close. This is where you'll take your rubber mallet, nicely pop on those all the way until they get flush. Perfect. The only thing left to do is tighten it in from the outside, run these two bolts down, and we'll be done. All right, sorry about that. Battery died. All right, so you're gonna wanna run these two in. I like to support the diff just a little bit. So that stud bottom's out, and then there we go. And then come over to the other one. Torque these to spec. And that's that. Just gotta do the 32 millimeter on the outside, and that's it. So the other thing left to do is run this 32 mil down with a new nut. And I actually don't normally fold these over just because this car is strictly for the track and it's probably going to be replaced before it would ever loosen up anyways. So alright, so that's the way that I do it. Might not necessarily be the correct way to do it, but it's pretty efficient and gets you back on the track. So if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comment section. Thank you for watching.